What's up, everyone? I'm Redtail, and yesterday I sat a test. Not just any test, this one was for further education. For a while now, I've been considering going back to school to finish further education. And not just because I want to, but also because, well, it's pretty hard to get a job past high school or regular shift work without having a piece of paper saying that I've shown up somewhere for 4 years. If you're outside of Australia, even Victoria has an education requirement at the end of year 12, essentially called VCE. You complete it in your last 2 years. So as a senior, you do unit 1, 2, and then 3, 1, 2, year 11, and then 3, 4, and year 12. Now, I completed my VCE, so I do have that certificate, but I didn't go to university after high school. I decided I was going to do my own thing, walk my own path, and looking back in hindsight, yes, it was a good thing, but also I probably could have gone on to do something that wouldn't have got me in this predicament. So after completing your VCE, or essentially doing all your finals for exams, you get a score known as an ATAR score. And ATAR stands for Australian Tertiary Admission Ranking, which essentially gives you a score which allows you to go to a certain course in university and or TAFE, depending on what route you want to go down. Now, I'm not going to disclose what my ATAR score was because that's personal and private information, but for the school I went to, it wasn't great. Looking back, it was semi-decent, but it wasn't enough for where I wanted to go at the time. Because I'm more than 24 months out of high school, my VCE and my ATAR specifically, that score it's now void, essentially, because ATAR only lasts, I think, 18 months to 2 years. You might want to fact check that before you listen to me, but I generally say to people, hey, if you balls it up, it only lasts for 2 years, so don't worry about it too much. But what is this test, you might be wondering? If you're not in Australia, you definitely wouldn't know what this is. You would have equivalent in your other countries. I'm not sure in America, it might be GED. But here it's known as the STAT, which is the Special Tertiary Administrations Test, which essentially is a multiple choice. Here for Australians, everyone would remember NAPLAN doing that all the way up until essentially year 9 or middle school for Americans. It's essentially a standardized test of that you have a comprehensive understanding of English language and a semi-basic functioning knowledge of maths. Now, I don't have my test results for this. I believe I get them in like a week and a half. Again, will not be disclosing them because that is personal and private information, which I do not condone putting out on the internet, even if it is for entertainment purposes. That's something that I just see as a no-go. Now, just because I'm looking at a certain university to go to get my degree, I didn't actually do the test through them. I did it through an external organization, which pretty much everyone has to do, known as ACER. ACER is the Australian Council of Educational Research, and they essentially run every sort of post-high school education test pathway, depending on what route you want to go to, whether it's into trades, engineering, generic degrees, going to university like I am at the moment, or I think it's also you can do immigration tests through them as well. ACER essentially walks hand in hand, especially in my state, which is Victoria. I live in Melbourne. So it essentially walks in hand with, I think it's VTAC, the Victorian Tertiary Admissions Council, which essentially gives if you're in high school, gives your ATAR score, puts it out there for universities to see, and when you start applying for universities and or TAFEs or different further education schools, they will essentially have your record and say, yes, we want to accept you. Yes, we'll accept you on certain conditions. Go and do this bridging course first, and so on, etc., etc. And the reason for this video going into why I'm doing this, I'll get to it, is not exactly that the STAT test was weird or wonky. It was ACER. ACER was very sketchy to deal with. I got roughly around 4 to 6 emails from ACER, essentially saying that here's what's going to happen on the test day, blah, blah, blah. Please download this certain secured browser, whatnot. Please download the ACER test website. And that was fine. I was perfectly happy doing that. But on the day, that yesterday morning, I noticed my mouse was moving on its own. Now, I've been involved in, especially family members who have been hacked before, and people have still been on access to their computer. I had no idea that mirror access was going to be provided for this. And let me tell you, I was not happy whatsoever. I immediately told them to cease what they were doing and explain why they had access to my computer. And they said, well, we have to give you this, essentially this room key. I said, could this not have been emailed to me previously? It's like, no, for privacy and safety reasons. And I made them fully aware by them having this, that it was a complete breach of privacy. They were worried about privacy, right? I was mortified because they now essentially could have had access to all my licensing, not just my driver's license, right? But my private security license and any correspondence and any information provided to and from Victoria Police and Australia Federal Police, anything with court-related documents that I still have on my computer, anything in regards to any banking that I have, and anything to do with any shareholding positions that I do have. They said, oh, but we have to do this for the room key. And I was trying to explain to them, of all the emails, I got like 4 to 6 emails of the same thing of what's going to happen on the day. None of them actually had that someone was going to have mirror access to my computer. And I'm actually even going to bring up said email, or said photo of email now. It's not the whole email, but it is still what was sent to me. This is essentially what was sent to me. It's not the whole email, and you can see down the bottom I've blacked out some, or removed where their address is, just for in case they don't want that up on the internet for some reason. But anywho, as you can see here, nothing says that they would have access to my, external access to my computer at all. Yes, okay. Open the Guardian browser, cool. In your ACER account, log into ProctorU. Yep, completely fine. I was able to get into that. I was completely logged in. I logged in 20 minutes before my test. I was stressing about this, even though I probably shouldn't have needed to. So yes, I did. The online proctor was essentially just the observer. Yep, I was fully aware I was going to have to show my ID. That was fine. I had 2 that I was had to verify, because I put into, like an idiot on my form, I put in my driver's license, and I also put in my security license as well, so I had to show both. During the test, I was not permitted to leave the room, which was fine, even though in the last 20 minutes I was busting to take a piss. And I did not have any technical difficulties in it. But you can see here, the thing that is left up to ambiguity, and the thing I pointed out to them so many times throughout essentially the phone call I was having with them, is that, okay, yes, it says there are pre-checks, but it does not state how the pre-checks are going to be done. Looking at this, you would be on call, like essentially on a call with the person who was watching you to make sure you didn't cheat, and they would be stepping you through how to do the pre-checks, right? Nowhere here does it actually state written, and mind you, I got this email 4 to 6 times, and nothing happened whatsoever. Nothing was verbally stated that someone was going to have access to my computer, and nothing was writtenly stated. Nothing was written statement with a written statement saying that someone external from me was going to be able to just pop in everywhere. And I explained them to them. The first thing I said after telling them to stop, I said, this is sketchy as fuck. Like, I'm really considering just stopping this right now and trying to come in for a physical test. And at the end of it, I think I finished with 10 minutes to spare. And I said, hey, I'm nearly done. Is there a survey I can fill out, or someone I can call about this? And they said, yes, there actually is a survey that you can do now that you finished it. It's like, right, I am going to put in here this concern, because it's a massive breach of privacy and security. I don't really care that the government passed certain privacy laws that allow people to jump in and alter and change things. That's for police, and that's another story for another fucking day that I don't even want to touch on. But this is not even borderline illegal. This is illegal. It's like breaking into someone's house. It's not legal. It's breaking and entering. It's burglary. It's illegal to do that. It's illegal to fucking break into someone's computer without their consent. I would have consented to it if there was a step 3.5 saying that a proctor will have to have mirror access to your computer. I would have done that. That would have been fine if I had known about it. The reason I'm so not pissed off about it, but extremely annoyed about it and angsty about it, is because I was not told that this was going to be happening. I don't think that any organization, any person whatsoever should make the assumption, oh, just because someone has to log online for our website, that we have free reign over their laptop, because they could have seen anything. They really could have. I'm not worried about they could have deleted shit for YouTube and all my media stuff and all stuff that I do and the things I do with music. That's fine. It's a pain in the ass to re-download, but I literally have, they could have had access to thousands of dollars. This organization, ACER, thinks that it's appropriate for this to happen. And I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, because it's just people that want to get the testing done so they can get into further education. And I get that. But without bringing it up and saying, hey, this is a major breach of privacy, then nothing's going to change. You need to be telling people every single step of the process. It looks like it's every step, but it doesn't. All it says, click this button to start session. You will then be in a queue to connect with an online proctor. Please note the connection and pre-checks can take some time. If you're waiting more than 30 minutes for a proctor, please email ACER so that we can assist you. It doesn't say anything about, hey, someone is going to be able to be moving your mouse on your computer from God knows where. The fact that it is not written in is what has annoyed me so much. And after it, I have an email drafted directly to ACER as well to email them about this, because this is a major breach of privacy. I have no problem with doing an online test and having to submit stuff online through secure channels, and it was a secure channel, but you have to let people know that, hey, this is part of it. We're going to actually be able to have access to your computer. Privacy, in the online sense of the word and in the digital sense of the word, essentially should be that you and you alone have access to everything that belongs to you and everything you've ever created that hasn't been published out on the internet, which is fair game then. But everything that you have on your own personal devices should not be accessed by anyone other than yourself without explicit, either written or verbal permission at the exact moment they want to do it. Now, if you are in Australia and you are considering doing further education after your end of high school score has been voided over time, I would recommend you do the comprehension questions first, because you will have to do a stat or a form of it later down the line. Do the English questions first. I still had a really long time. I still think I had like an hour and 15, hour and 10 left to finish the math questions. No doubt about it. Even if you're better than at maths and the math analysis stuff, which, don't get me wrong, it's not that hard to do it. There was only a couple of things with formulas that took me way too longer than it should have. But the English will be the easiest thing for anyone to do. It's not that hard. You have to read the text 2 or 3 times just to be like, oh, maybe this is what it means, and you can have your interpretation, and then any sound mind would be able to say, well, if this is my interpretation, it might be slightly wrong. I'm going to go with the one that's similar to mine, but a bit more like gentrified in the answer, because that'll be the actual answer. To sum this up, stat test was easy, ACER is sketchy as fuck, and make sure you can get them to provide the answer if there is going to be mirror access when you're doing your test. I have been Redtail. This has been a rant and a half that not many people will probably listen to or have anything to do with. But that being said, if you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a like. Consider leaving a comment down in the sections below, and also consider hitting that subscribe button to see any more of my channel content. And I'll see you in the next video. See ya!